but there's definitely a fair number of large white oaks and black oaks that are in this stand. Hey folks, it's Armin here from Eco Foresters. This property here in Jackson County has got an interesting montane oak-hickory forest where there's a lot of young trees and several very old, almost like wolf trees. You see that one behind me right there? That's one of them. That one I think is a black oak. And if we turn around and look right there into the sun, that is a large white oak. But if you look around, most of the other trees here are pretty small in diameter. Like for example, all these, let's get the sun out of the way. A lot of poplars of this size, and then a fair amount of hickories as well, that are all between maybe 8, 12, maybe 16 inches in diameter. So that gets me thinking what the land use history used to be in this spot. Large trees with branches going far down the stem, or remnants of them, usually say that these trees grew up in an environment where there was a lot of light, because these branches sprouted when there was a lot of light on the stem. And when they got older, some of those stems might have died off, leaving some stubble or some remnant branches that are now dead on the stems, and other trees grew up around them. And so the two possibilities that I would be thinking are the possibilities here is that this stand was either harvested or this stand was pastured way back in time, several decades ago. And I've been going back and forth about that, and I don't know the answer. But there's definitely a fair number of large white oaks and black oaks that are in this stand. If this is the result of a timber harvest, then the loggers back in the day probably came in here and left some of those trees that had forks in them and already had branches lower down that would therefore not be quite as valuable. And so they left the oaks, those open-grown oaks, in the stand. But if this was harvested, I would probably see a number of stumps still sitting around. I mean, the poplars aren't too old yet, so the stumps probably would not have decomposed all the way. But I don't see any stumps. That could mean that this used to be a little patch of field, or someone had cleared it for grazing cattle on back in the day and left some of those large oaks as shade trees. So, yeah, interesting thoughts here. And if you can think of what this might have been, or if you want to make a guess, or have an idea of other signs that might indicate one or the other, leave us a comment below, and yeah, we'll try to have a conversation about it. It's always fun to talk with other folks about it. Anyways, I gotta get a few more points here, but I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you next time.